The ambition of the club, Natalie, I think, to come in and really rebuild and put something in place that, more importantly, the club can be proud of. Something that can be exciting for the fans, and really create a connection with the fans, the local community, the club, more importantly, and make sure that we're in a position where we're competitive.
So, in terms of a Martin Ho team, what can those fans expect?
Yeah, an aggressive, highly intense, very proactive, very proficient. Yeah, very exciting, more importantly. But probably the underpinning part is very hardworking, very resilient, very committed to this club and more the team, to make sure that we can achieve what we want to achieve.
And I suppose for those that might not have seen you on a touchline, what kind of a manager are you going to be? Are you an active manager on the touchline? Are you more passive? What can we see? What will we expect from you?
Yeah, probably do about five k a game on the side. But more importantly, I think I wear my heart on my sleeve. I'm as passionate as the players. I want to see the players succeed. I will head and kick every ball with the players. More importantly, and I want this club more importantly, and I want this team to be successful. And I have the best interest at heart for each player, and I want to make sure that as a staffing group and a playing group, we can connect and stay together. And more importantly, I can show that and demonstrate that through my leadership, and my passion, as I said, and desire for the game, but more importantly, my desire to make sure that this club is successful in the future.
I mean, obviously, you've been involved in the women's game for quite a while now with Everton and Manchester United women as well. And then you moved to Norway. And I just want to talk about that Norway experience, if that's all right. Although I know now you're very much the Tottenham head coach, women's head coach. But what was that experience like in Norway for you? What did you learn from playing or managing in a different country?
It was unbelievable. It was probably the best experience I've had, if I'm honest. From being so accustomed to maybe the English culture and the English way of doing things, taking myself out my own comfort zone and coming away from it was important, to really see if I wanted to do management, Natalie, and what it was like, but do it in a way where I didn't have as much media coverage on me, so I could do it in a quieter way. I could learn, I could try things, I could try and be a bit more authentic to myself, and yeah, that taught me different football culture, a totally different culture in terms of from a humanity perspective of players. Obviously, the big one will be the language and the changing language, which was good. It's something I've always said I wanted to do was learn and understand a new language, and I worked really hard at that, which was important. But it taught me a lot around creativity, innovation, leadership, managing people, managing staff, managing players when you don't always have the ability and resource and finance to be able to have the kind of the infrastructure and the size of the clubs around you like we do in the Super League now. And more importantly, that's going to probably put me in good stead now moving forward as a manager, because I know what my strengths are, making sure that I know what my staff strengths are, so we can get the best out of the team and best out of one another. And more importantly, using those experiences from the Champions League. When I was there, we played in the quarter final against Barcelona. We played in the group stages against Lyon and some wonderful teams. And those experiences will definitely play a part in what I do and shape my career and my management, but will also shape some of the decisions I make here, of building a team and, more importantly, creating an identity. So, yeah, it was something that I will cherish, and I'm very grateful for that I got the opportunity. And yeah, I think it was now the right time to come back to England.
So let's talk about the now and Tottenham. How did pre-season go?
Yeah, brilliant. It's been a whirlwind of 5 or 6 weeks, as you can imagine, from moving everything over from Norway and in the space of a short time and then settling in. It's been really good. I think there's a wonderful group of staff here, from a leadership perspective with Vinay, Andy, Daniel and Rebecca, and they've enabled me to settle really quickly. And the staffing group around the team on a day-to-day basis have enabled me to hit the ground running on the pitch, and being able to delegate to them as with the expertise they have in their areas has been brilliant. And the playing group, I couldn't have asked for any more. They've trained hard, they've worked hard. We've given them a very clean slate for them to build on, and we've tried to create a real clear identity and philosophy and methodology of how we want to look. And more importantly, those foundations are in place, and we just have to build now on top of that.
The clean slate obviously is massively important for those players that might not be involved, week in, week out previously. And also the fact that last season, it has to be said, Martin, I know obviously you weren't involved, but it wasn't a great season for Tottenham, especially what happened the previous year when they got to the FA Cup final and finished 6th in the WSL. I think everyone was hoping that they would build on that and perhaps do better, but didn't quite work out that way. And they ended up in a sort of relegation battle. So what was the mood like in the camp when you took over?
Yeah, being honest, I think there wasn't a lot of motivation. There was a lot of, the confidence wasn't great, as you can imagine. You've just finished second to bottom, and like you said, you were maybe felt like you were in a relegation battle. And more importantly, it was my job then to come in and create a new culture, new environment, and give a new feel and energy to the group. And I think me as a human does that in terms of, I'd like to think naturally, in terms of my persona and my personality enables that to happen. And the players have maybe felt that now in terms of how big I am on the human connection and togetherness of the individuals and those players together, how much they can stay together and the morale they build between themselves. And more importantly, that starts to show on the pitch, which is nice. I'm trying to just lift that aspect more than anything psychologically, is getting them in a place where they feel really valued, they feel confident, they feel like they can go onto the pitch and they've got everyone going in the same direction as them and no one's drilling holes in the boat. And that's probably been the biggest thing for me. And I've seen a big shift in that mentality now in the group, and we still have a lot of work to do. And as you know, it's not going to change in 5 or 6 weeks. It takes a lot of time to continually do that. You can persistently will get there, but consistency will keep you at that level. And we have to make sure that the mentality and the strength within, with the togetherness, is there throughout.
And how have you found the transfer window? Has it been, hard to get players in?
Yeah, it's been difficult. Don't get me wrong. I think when you come in, I come in so late into maybe the window, if you want to call it. When I was here before, a lot of deals are probably done within a 4 or 5 month basis before that. And I come in late into the window, and we started to look at what the squad needs to look like in the team, not just now, but for the future, and how we want that Spurs team to look. But more importantly for me, it was giving every player an opportunity within pre-season to showcase their capabilities and the characteristics in an environment that I've created, not from a previous environment, which I think is important because we all have different ways of managing and leading. So giving every player that opportunity, and then whilst doing that, knowing that we had areas we want to improve. But I'm really big on, Natalie, of not just bringing any player into the environment. I want to make sure it's the right player, and strategically we look at the right profile for the team. And if that's not available, then I won't just go and bring someone in. I want to make sure that we build a team that's sustainable and we really have continuity with the group moving forward. I think the most important thing for me is to make sure it's the right person and the right player that comes in. And we're not just building a squad just based on wanting to get players in.
And on what is deadline day, obviously loads of clubs hoping to get those last minute deals done, and you brought in a forward this evening.
Yeah, been brilliant. I think I've known about Katinka for a long time, and her goal record speaks for itself. She's a really natural goal scorer, and she has a physicality and a presence that will cause a lot of problems. More importantly, she has a real creativity and a lot of ability in terms of physical strength, capability in the box, in terms of to finish, and more importantly, tenacity and an attitude to want to defend and want to work hard is a big thing for me because of the way we will play. And more importantly, we've been lucky enough to get her. There's been a lot of interest in her over this window from numerous WSL clubs as well as clubs worldwide. And she's chose this project at Tottenham because she believes this will enable her to grow, not just on her own ambitions, but she will help us grow. And more importantly, now I'm really excited it's done because it's like with deadline day deals, you don't know what's going to happen. And as soon as I knew the green light was there, it was a relief.
What's been great to hear is you talking about obviously all the support you're receiving, and the fact that you're now also training at the Tottenham Hotspur Way training ground as well, which means you're fully integrated with the men's side as well. That must be really beneficial for you to see how Thomas Frank is also working, two of you new to Tottenham. But what I finally wanted to just get to is West Ham then, first game on Sunday. How important is it for you to get off to a good start, Martin, or is it more a case of it's a marathon, not a sprint? Is that the kind of way you'd look at it?
Yeah, you've probably hit the nail on the head. I think it's more of a looking in the longer term. If we look short term, you probably only see just what's in front of you, and more importantly, I know the club we have a longer strategy. More importantly, footballing wise, and a longer strategy for the business in terms of where we want to go and where we want to be and we should be. So more importantly, I will always base my assessments on performance. And more importantly, I said to the players and I've said to the staffing group of usually after the first couple of games, it's how you're usually remembered for a long time. So more importantly, how do we want to be remembered from performance perspective, and remove that pressure of, yeah, we want to win. We don't go into any game, and I definitely don't go into no game wanting to take part. I want to make sure we win the game, and we will go into the game with that intention. But trying to make sure, more importantly, that we put in the performance, because if we're just looking at results, we probably dismiss the process behind that, which is the performance. And I know if we perform to our level and we perform to the level I know the team can, we will come out with a positive result, and that's the most important thing for me.